Hey, what's going on, Warriors? It's Guru Joe, and today I'm going to take you through the numbering system. We're going to use single stick, but just have an understanding that it could be single knife, it could be dinner fork, it could be pocket tool, it could be bottle opener, it could be sword, machete, axe, cane, anything you can hold in your hand. In fact, the word Kali is a mixture of two words that means hand and motion. So we think of anything that you can hold in the hand that can be used as a functional tool. There's some subtle differences that have to be changed, like a lot of times if you're doing some sort of disarm, you have to consider whether it's a blunt object or a sharp object. If it's a blunt instrument, you want to aim at hard things. So you want to aim at the bones. So I'm going to aim at the jaw, I might aim at the temple, the tip of the elbow, the kneecap, that kind of thing. If it's bladed, you're going to aim at soft tissue. But I'm not really going to go into the blade. We're just going to use this. So there's three primary numbering systems that we use, and then there's some subtlety, there's some minor systems, and all they really are is not the end-all be-all, but they are an instructional template to give you possibilities of just what can you do with the object. A lot of them are really similar. It gets kind of redundant if you keep going through them. But we're going to do a 12 count, the 15 count, and the 17 count. And all they really do is add different options. And this is from the Insoanto Kali system. And then we do a couple other ones from Lameco and Illustrissimo as well that are different systems. Okay, so angle one, we're going to go forehand to the tip of the chin. And what you want to notice is my hand is below my solar plexus. So from the side, see how the tip is even with my jaw. That's really important on delivery. I have enough power to come down just from my shoulder through here at a 45-degree angle, and the stick will cover my arm along the way. Because see, my arm is in the same 45-degree line behind the object. You're going to see a lot of people chamber the stick up high and then throw it. Okay, for power maybe, but it's going to present a very clear target in the arm. I can always tell when somebody's educated just how they slice through that line. So number one, forehand to the temple or chin. 2, backhand to the chin. 3, horizontal to the rib cage or elbow. 4, backhand to the elbow. 5 is a thrust. We typically target the navel, but it could be to the solar plexus. It could be to the chin or the throat as well. And then 6 in this system is a high thrust. We're going to pull it across the body. 7 is a vertical shot down, and we're going to drop all the way to the floor and go palm up. Here we're trying to generate some opposite directions of force. So the lever of the left arm, the drop, is feeding the power and momentum of the downward motion here. And then 8 is a counter thrust up this way that is curved. So it's like the 2 line, but it's going to go to the jaw from the other side. And if we continue to pass through, it'll be back up to the shoulder. 9 is going to be down to the kneecap. 10 is down to the kneecap. And if you're using a mirror to train, you want to understand that it is the same leg. So it's not front leg, back leg, because my back leg would be too hard to strike. It is all to the front leg. Okay, and that's 10. 11 in this structure is a shot to the ankle bone or the Achilles. Imagine if I had another person here who had their right leg forward. I'm trying to smash the inside of the ankle. Traditionally, like in the Villa-Braille system, they'll do what's called sword hand, and they will step forward. That's sort of an old remnant. The slits in the armor, the vulnerable points in Spanish armor when they colonized the Philippines, were up along the collar line. And so that's where this kind of comes from, because it would be a sword in one hand and the dagger or a shorter object in the other hand. Modern times, what I like to do is to hit the ankle bone and then use the Maestro Ted Kai version, which is the press, right? Just like you're going to check somebody with a stick. So we'll go through that one more time. The other thing you want to notice is right now I'm using a watik, which just means that I'm stopping on the target. 1, 2, stopping on every target for accuracy and form. 5 to the navel, come back. 6 is the high thrust. 7 is straight down. 8 is the backhanded thrust. 9, forehand to the kneecap. 10, backhand to the kneecap. 11, inside the ankle bone. And 12, step forward and shove. Okay, one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you want to do a loptic version, which just means that every strike hits through. So it would just, even if I just do an easy slash, 1, 2, 3, 4 on 5, gonna bounce. 6, I can go through. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, well, let's move on to the 15 count. Same principles. These are really just add-ons, and we'll get into combination work here in just a second. But you're going to see it's very similar all the way up through 10, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to turn the body and we're going to make an uppercut. The reason we turn the body is, see how this uppercut is right on my center line? And I'm going to do the same on the backhand. I'm going to turn my shoulder the other way and backhand this way. And that's so I can make this truly vertical. Okay, and then 13 and 14 are to the head, and 15 is a redondo, which is a motion with the shoulder. So redondo, there's a tendency in the beginning, people do stuff like this, kind of short with the wrist. The redondo is a motion from the shoulder. So you want to stretch forward, let the stick go out, let it drop, and then about here is my limit. I can't go in this direction with my arm any longer, so you turn the thumb out and it relaxes back to the shoulder, just like that. Okay, back to the uppercut. If I keep my shoulders square, when I throw the uppercut, it will be more diagonal and it'll be hard to get it to the chin on a vertical line. That's okay, that's a figure 8. But the other thing we're working on when we do the vertical shot is there's a lot of shoulder and hip turning in Kali, just like boxing. And so I want to turn the body and become narrow. And then when I go to the other side, it's the same thing. And this is sort of a predicate for knife work and all kinds of positions in Kali. Okay, so one more time, and I'm going to use the Watik method this time and stop on the target. So forehand, 1 to the chin, 2 backhand to the chin, 3 horizontal to the elbow, 4 backhand horizontal to the elbow, 5 thrust to the midsection, 6 thrust to the chest or throat, bring it through, or the chin. 7 vertical down, that's a shot to the head, but it could be anything in the way. Maybe the hand is protruding out, so you target the hand. Could be the kneecap if the knee is protruding out. Could even be the foot, top of the foot. 8, reverse thrust to the jaw or the throat. Bring it through. 9 to the kneecap. 10 to the kneecap. 11, vertical uppercut, number 1, that's a forehand. 12, backhand the vertical uppercut. 13 and 14 are angle 1 and 2 again, but to illustrate that it is a horizontal shot to the head. So that's kind of training on that possibility. Backhand to the chin, and 15 is the redondo. Okay? So let's run through the 17 count, which is almost identical. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now we're going to go vertical redondo. So that's known as a forehand redondo because it stays on my forehand side. So forehand redondo, 15. 16, we're going to do a backhand diagonal redondo and we're going to cover. And then that same diagonal line that came down, we're going to do another thrust over the top and end in the closed position. And then if you're repeating, just some kind of adjustment back to your guard position. So just from the uppercut. So uppercut, uppercut, horizontals, vertical forehand redondo, backhand redondo, thrust this way. Okay, so the whole thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 15, 16, 17. 15, 16, 17. So right there, you can kind of see there's some sections, right? Like, let's look at the uppercuts to the horizontal. Even if I don't turn my shoulders. Uppercut, horizontal. Uppercut, horizontal, horizontal. Or the redondo. Redondo, backhand, thrust. Redondo, backhand, thrust, right? Or even the very beginning. 1 and 2. Just 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, like that. 9, 10, 11. You want to take sections of these and turn them into combinations. So you work them on the bag. And this is kind of another thing to mention. I used to teach the numbering system as sort of your first thing in class. Like if it was your first day, I'd pull you off to the side. We'd go over the numbering system. It might be all you do for like half an hour just to kind of get in the body, understand the stance. Maybe we do some footwork. This is the solo part of Kali. And there's some good channels out here on YouTube. I can't remember the start of the channel, but I think it's just called the Kali Academy. That gentleman, he's got some great training, puts out some phenomenal videos. Mostly what it is solo work because he owns a farm. So it's the numbering system and combinations. And that's why I don't do it as often in class anymore. I'd rather have people be able to spend that precious hour on partner drills where we can work things from more of a tactile feel, some brada, back and forth, using the knife, disarms, anything you can do with a partner. The numbering system is you should be able to take it and you should be able to devote quite a bit of practice to it on your own. It can be in the air. If you're in your kitchen or out and about, you can do it with any kind of object in your hand. 3, 4, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to the ankle. Set number 1, right? And so you just want to have this habit, kind of like you should do with your footwork, is, I have a couple minutes. I'm going to rep footwork, or I'm going to put it into some other exercise I'm doing. Like I'm going to go for a jog. And when I come back, I'm going to run through the numbering system a few different times. We could do it in class, but I think there's a better use of your time outside. And if you don't have an academy that you train at, it will set you apart by just practicing it, trying to find that form where you have this narrow cut. See how my line comes in and my hand is right near my navel here like this. It's just practice. Practice makes the most drastic difference from practitioner to practitioner. And then people that drill, if you can isolate something, like let's say you're playing with this and you find like a favorite combination. Like let's say you like to go 1, 4, 6, maybe 7, right? 1, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, or those uppercuts and slash. And you kind of make that your own. You'll start to develop something intangible that is unique to you because you've explored through the material. So it's much more than just a list of numbers that you want to memorize and go through step by step in order. That is a good part. It's a natural process of learning to kind of acquire a list and memorize it. But then you want to tinker with it. You want to pull it apart. Bruce Lee has this saying in Jeet Kune Do that he says, know the rule, abide by the rule, break the rule. And sometimes I've heard it expanded to know the rule, abide by the rule, bend the rule, and then break the rule, right? So knowing the rule is, man, I can do this list. I've got 1 through 12 down. I've memorized it. I don't have to think about it. I can just go through the motions and deliver it. Okay, and then bending the rule would be, okay, I'm gonna go through this, but you know what? I'm not gonna go in order. I'm gonna go like 1, 2, 6, 7. I'm gonna go into the Redondo series that's on the end of the 15 count. And it's that exploration that will really feed you. And then you're going to go do the same thing on the heavy bag. You can do it in order, and then you're going to start to pull it apart, play with it, and do your own order. And then break the rule. How would we do that? Well, I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna try to do this two-handed. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do a couple hits, and then I'm gonna go in to like a Thai boxer's 4 count. And it's just the limits are just your own imagination and what exploration you allow yourself to have. Sometimes I think in modern society, because there's so much information, whether it's on the internet or chat GPT, talking to kids these days in my youth class, everyone seems expected to know everything. We must know everything all at once, and surely if we don't, the answers are right there at our fingertips. And that kind of thinking can make you feel that way when you come to a sport you can't access like that. You know, like if you want to be good at drawing, you can have ChatGPT draw it, but you're not getting any better as an artist. You have to be able to go through those moments where you feel sort of goofy and unbuoyed by things, uncertain. You know, it's just like, oh, am I even doing this right? I don't know. That's when you should dig in and really just kind of keep playing with it, because it'll open up your way of thinking. It'll also open up your practice and allow you to discover some things that you otherwise wouldn't have. You know, and then the best sounding board is find an instructor or find your peers. You know, somebody else who does some training with you. Hey, I was thinking about this combination. I kind of added this thing. What do you think about that? And just you make a little laboratory out of it, like you're all little mini scientists training the same way. Just like with my art example, you do the same thing. Hey, I drew this piece, and now my friend who also draws a lot, you know, we share our art in the group chat, and hey, what do you think of mine here? Could I do something different? And how would I shade this in? But you have to go through that process of feeling a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit uncertain, because that certainty is going to come with a foundation. And then the beginning, knowing the rule and abiding by the rule, that is important too. It is important to go through the numbering system in order and really get it down too, because that foundational structure was organized for a reason by people that had far more training and expertise than we did. And that organization, that foundation, it will continue to feed you new ideas. And then what you create out of that, it won't be garbage. It'll be something of substance that you can use, because you'll have an understanding of how to go down the correct path. You know, like I'll use cooking as an example, right? In the beginning, if you start cooking, you got to go by the recipes, because if you change the recipe and you have no understanding, you could really foul it up, right? It could become inedible in short order. And then as you start to get better, you know, I've made this Italian sauce 500 times. I'm gonna add nutmeg this time, even though it doesn't call for it. I'm gonna add basil instead of thyme. You start to make little tweaks, and then those little tweaks, they can have a big impact on the dish. And then if you've spent your time in the kitchen cooking for 5, 10, 20 years, sometimes you don't even need to look at the recipe, because you understand, man, what are the components required? You know, I need acid, salt, fat, and heat, right? How am I going to put that together in a way that's going to taste good to me, and I know how to do it? Training is the same way. You got to start with the base recipe, but you always still have the base. Before I talk your brains out, and you can turn this off because we're done with the numbering system, but what Master Peter Sauer told me one time at a seminar was that everybody makes rice. Like around the world, everybody has some kind of like rice dish, right? And so it could be white rice, just plain rice. And then you start cooking, you're like, man, I want something a little better than plain rice. So I'm gonna add a little chicken broth to it. I'm gonna add spice. I'm gonna add salt and pepper. I'm gonna throw in tomatoes. I'm gonna make red beans and rice, whatever it is. You can get very creative with it, right? It can become fried rice with a medley of vegetables and protein and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, the core component is it's still rice. The foundation of it is still there. And that's what I'm trying to get across. You want to develop the foundation of the list in order, like I said earlier, so you can kind of do it on autopilot without thinking. But then you also want to start spicing it up. You want to be able to deviate from it, freelance with it. And then pretty soon, you're working on something unrelated. Like I'm working on a specific footwork, like step through and drop back. Or I'm working on triangle footwork like this. And I could just randomly do footwork, and I'm going through the numbering system in order. And that means that, okay, I have the numbering system, so I'm going to keep that as my plain rice. But now I'm going to add this other component over here. I'm going to add footwork to it, right? Or I'm going to try to spar, and I'm going to try to get those combinations I've been working on in sparring, because I know in sparring I cannot go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, right? It's got to be micronized. All right, you guys, I hope you got something out of that. Thankfully for the power of the internet and YouTube, you can always scroll this back and watch those again, and you can skip the discussion part if you're not into that. But if you hung in there, I appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. And I just encourage you to support anybody out there right now who's building community. You know, there's a lot of great channels out there, and it doesn't have to be that this person's better than that person, whatever. We can just enjoy it all. All right. Take care.